Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Going live on Facebook now. Hopefully that's working. Having some internet issues lately. But today, I've been on the phone with agents 7 days a week for, gosh, months now with the changes coming up. And I want to just say this is that there's one common denominator of the agents that I've been talking to, the hundreds of agents I've talked to with our office, other brokers, other owners, even other presidents of corporations, real estate companies about this. And I'll even just say it. Hopefully, it does not upset. But even the president of Century 21 himself talked about this topic. Is that the one common denominator I'm seeing with this big changes that are coming up in real estate is the agents that are the most worried or concerned about these changes, is the agents that are purchasing internet leads or getting buyers that they don't know. Because one of the main questions, and again, just to recap, quick change, buyer's agreements required. And anybody, all the agents in Ohio, state of Ohio, remember, this change was just a rule change in MLS or MLS in National Association of Realtors, but the Division of Real Estate of Ohio is right behind it, and probably, yeah, from what I'm seeing and hearing, by within a few months or by the end of the year will be a license law, which means that if you don't get a buyer's agreement signed before you work with someone, just like the consumer guide to agency, could affect your license, suspended, revoked, fined. So it's coming down the path. It's in stone. Like, you just can't go, should I sign, not sign? It's just like the consumer guide to agency, we'll just put it that way. But sorry to keep on going on this training because I get on these conversations, but the consumer guide agency is a division, no, a state form that everybody uses, something very similar, but it's going to be different for every other company. But back to the point of this video is the agents, my opinion. I can't wait to see this pan out because I think this is a good thing, is that the agents that are buying internet leads are going to be in trouble. It is. It is. I've been in the business 31 years, and I've been talking to agents all day long, every day, of good practices on what to do to build your business. And never once have I ever said and ever said to an agent, you're going to be successful by buying internet leads and buying ways to someone to connect with you that has no idea who you are. You build your business in real estate by referrals, building a client base, prospecting, connecting with people that are connected with you somehow in life, or by people or referrals from other past business friends, family, whatever. That's a steady business. That is a more solid business, because now the agents that are worried, I'm like, I keep on going, agent, why are you worried about having a buyer sign a buyer's agreement? You never had that worry about a listing. You had to, legally had to. We had to list a property when you put a house for sale. Did you ever have a concern about signing a listing agreement? Like, no, just part of the business. Now the buyer side is, why are you so concerned about this buyer? Because this buyer that you have should be someone you've been prospecting with for years or calling on. They know you, that you've talked to them, you've left messages for them, they get to know you, they know you already. Or someone referred them to you. So their best friend, their neighbor, their cousin, their whatever, they were referred directly to you and they called you. Or you called them because you called someone in your prospect list saying, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Oh yeah, my cousin John is looking to buy or sell home. He's just about to get married. Here's his number. Give him a call. Maybe he needs your services. Those people are going to believe in you and want to do business with you. And whatever you put in front of them within reason of normal business, they're going to sign because they want to do business with you. Now, The internet leads, I'm very interested to see, because I've never pushed them, why anybody in business would pay for something that you have a 1 to 3% chance of getting business. That's what the internet leads is. Google it. Real estate. What's the conversion rate on internet leads? Maybe 3% tops. Yeah, I have agents that I ruffle their feathers. Well, I get 5% or 10%. No, fine. But if you took all that money and time and actually prospected, you'd get even more business. But that's a whole nother video. But so I'm very interested to see, because these people, internet leads, are people that are just going on a website. They're just going to type in a name. They're on Zillow or realtor.com or homes.com and all of the or other different websites or different places where they send us they send us our leads back to us and charge us money for, which I don't agree with anyways, paying other people to give our leads back, but they don't know you. And if they have 5 other agents calling them, because they went on realtor.com, they went on Zillow, and they went on homes.com, they went on all these other websites, and then they got 5 different agents calling them. Because if you think they're just on one website, that's crazy. They're going to get many calls, and some of these websites send these to more than one agent. So all of a sudden, they got 5 agents calling them that are desperate because they're buying internet leads. So they're desperate because they don't have enough business with their own. So most agents that are buying leads, in my opinion, sorry to ruffle your feathers, if you're buying internet leads, you're desperate because I can't get business on my own. I got to buy it. And people send it to me. So they're desperate. And what are they going to do? They're going to they're going to fight over the business. There's going to be agents that are doing things that they shouldn't do legally, like not sign a buyer agreement, write things in there they're not supposed to, like I only charge you $1 to show you a house, or I won't, or it's free, which you're not supposed to. There's going to be agents that are so desperate that they're going to drive down the value of the other agents. So if you're an agent that you say, I'm this and I want to earn this, and I always relied on internet leads, and I always relied on not ever having a conversation with them or getting them under a contract or telling them, hey, I got to get paid this. This is what I charge. And if the seller doesn't pay, you have to pay. And you are relying on that seller and listing agent to always guarantee you before you even walked in the door, hey, we're offering 2%, 3%, whatever it is. And you were relying on that, you're gonna have problems. You're going to. So and it hit me, I've been doing this for months, and I won't be honest with you, I didn't think of this because I don't promote it, I don't teach it, I don't tell agents go buy leads. Our office doesn't buy leads for agents because it's just not worth the money and time and things that they do. And yes, there are very few. I will tell you, there's very few that are successful at this. The reason being, why don't you think? Why do you think you as an agent, individual agent, this is what I tell agents every day. So if you're ever thinking about buying internet leads, definitely not the time to buy leads. Is if it took just money to buy leads, don't you think the national, global, huge corporations would just buy them all up, and not one single agent would be able to call up Zillow or realtor.com or wherever, or homes.com or any other real estate website and say, hey, I want to pay X amount. What can you get me and how many leads I'm going to get? Why wouldn't someone, they're smarter out there, be and buy them all up? Because they know that's not the way ultimately, overall, you're going to build a good business in real estate. And even worse, there's agents out there that they're so busy with internet leads because they're paying for them, they don't realize the time versus money aspect of the amount of calls and things that you have to do. And I just see those agents, because of those consumers out there that are on the internet and not caring who's calling them, or even worse, sorry to say this, they think they're reaching the listing agent, and they get a buyer's agent that knows nothing about the house or not even qualified to them. So I feel bad for those buyers that are going to these agents that are desperate and buying leads, and then getting them to agents that maybe they're on a team and they're giving them to the lower the end of houses, the work now the most uneducated or the lowest agent on the totem pole, or just got their license and they're just not seasoned yet as agents, are getting those people, and those people need the most help. Because first time home buyers, lower end properties, and then they're giving those leads out to agents that are just don't have the expertise. So they're not getting good service. So I feel bad for the consumers out there that are not going to, just like when you list your house, very rarely does anybody just go on the internet. Let me just go on to Zillow. I'm going to put my house on the market. Are there people? Yes, do. Not many. I would say 95% of the people or more are going on the internet and entering their information because they're buyers, right? There's not too many people going on, not going to call the agent. I saw a sign down the street, or that agent that's been prospecting our neighborhood or farming our neighborhood. They're going to just wing it and see who calls me. I'm going to list my house with them. No, they don't. Majority or almost all sellers, I'll say very high percentage, 95%. I'm just throwing that number out there. I have no data on this, but just from experience, is that will interview agents or go with an agent they know or recognize or were referred to or saw a sign or something. They're not just going on the internet. The point I say that I want buyers to do the same thing. That's one of the major things as an industry we need to do. Buyers. So anybody stretch it. Now is the time to interview agents. And some agents go, "Oh my God, you're telling buyers to interview other agents?" Yes, but you shouldn't be worried about that, because when they're listing a house, because so many agents that, like, yes, people interview other agents, and guess what? They don't go with the cheapest one. They don't go to the cheapest one all the time. So they go with the people with the experience. And we know as agents, especially the seasoned agents that know this business, knows that their expertise, their hard work, their direction, and what they did is helped all of their buyers get the house they're in now, or about to get a house, because of the work they're doing. Just like a listing agent says, "Hey, you list your house with me. I'm going to help you. We're going to sell your house." Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you're going to work with me because of these things, in your buyer presentation. So this is a good thing. It's kind of like, okay, what's the word I'm looking for? It's logical. We've been doing this for sellers. Let's do the same thing for buyers. Now, the internet leads, those people are just looking for get in the house. I just want to see a house. I know they're gonna higher proportional fighting you on getting a buyer agreement signed. And those agents or those buyers are going to get confused and who's calling them, because they're going on the website saying, "I think that I want to find that house," and it's not the listing agent, it's somebody else getting the lead. They're getting confused. Are you work for me or do you work for the seller? I think more questions are going to come up because we have to have these buyer sign buyer's agreement, and the buyers are going to go, "Well, no, wait, you're just not going to meet me at the house tonight? I have to sign something with you? Well, who are you? Are you the buyer's agent? Have you been in the house? Oh, no, I just got your." Then they're going to ask questions, because I know for a fact agents right now that get internet leads are not signing. Most of them are not having buyers sign buyer's agreements because they just picked up the phone. They're just running out to the house. And the buyer, I think, my opinion, I said in my opinion, as a majority of them are still confused. They just, "Oh, so agent picked up, gonna meet me there." They have no idea that agent's never been to that house. It might not even know the area, because a lead it was sold and to someone else over here, and that agent's not explaining that to them. But now I think those buyers might start asking questions when they say, you have to sign this. Well, who are you? Wait, there's your name. Who do you, is this your house? Well, no, I don't want to sign with you. I want to try to get a hold of that listing agent, not you. And you're going to have a lot of, not a, I hopefully not a lot, but you're going to have some pushback from some buyers. I just want to see that house. Now, so I really feel that, again, I've said this in many videos, I think this is a great, great, great change. I think this is a great, great, great change in the aspect of more buyers will be shopping for if I'm going to commit to an agent to make sure they get paid, not to go back, because some of you might be watching this video and you haven't seen my other videos. A buyer, when they sign a buyer's agreement, the way I explain it is that the buyer is just has to guarantee somebody is going to pay you. The buyer doesn't have to say, I am paying you. I don't think a high percentage of buyers are ever going to pay for their agents. Will they? Yes. There are buyers agents that have been paying. We sell hundreds of homes every month, and several of them, the buyer pays the agent because they're just trying to make their offers better. So if you think that buyers have not been paying for their agents, I'm sorry to tell you, they have. If you ever lost out on a multiple offers, it's very possible the buyer you lost to, told the seller, told their agent, I'll pay you directly. Tell the seller to keep your side of the commission. Or we've had buyers pay for both sides. How did they pay for both sides? What do you think? How did they pay for both sides? House is listed for 250 and someone paid 300 for it. Who paid for the commission? The buyer. The seller's going, wow, I only want to sell my house for 250. They're going to buy it for 300. That 50,000 that's paying for my agents, is paying for my closing costs, is paying for my movers, is paying. Who paid? The buyer paid. I don't care if the seller says, I want to sell for this. And unless they're thinking like an auction and they're going to try to bid up the price, but they were happy at 250. Every dollar over that is just a buyer paying them more. And wherever they think, either they can say, well, I put in that money in my pocket, or that's going towards my commissions or whatever. And we know sellers, that was been the debate for the 30 plus years I've been in business. Who pays the commission? My feeling has always been the seller. The seller pays the commit, or the buyer pays the commission in the price of the house in a seller's market. In a seller's market, the buyers are paying premium in the house values. They're paying over asking price. The buyers, 100%, in my opinion, are paying the commission. Now, when it's reversed, it's a seller's or a buyer's market, and the buyers are taking, the sellers are cutting they're listing their house at 250, and then every month they're dropping it 10,000, and then they sell their house that listed at 250 and they sold it for 200. 7-8 months later, who paid for the commission? Net scenario, that agent's like, oh, that seller's like, oh my God, it came down $50,000 in 7 months, and on top of I'm paying commission. And they feel more that sellers paying the commission in those scenarios. So, but again, it's all up for debate. But the bottom line is this video, I know I got off target because I like to throw that in there because I have agents that text me every time I do a video. I have several agents that might text me like, which video should I be watching? Because you mentioned this and I didn't see all your videos because I've been doing a lot of them. So I wanted to, throw in some context there of past videos. But the bottom line for this video today was about internet leads. I suggest to agents, that all agents out there, that we really start working on building our businesses organically, finding those buyers, prospecting, referrals before they hit the internet and can type in, and some agent from who knows where is contacting them to try to show them a house. Also, I think that this will also kick you some business back. Example, you are an agent, you've been calling them on, for years, and all of a sudden this buyer decides, this is the night I'm going to just go on line and see what house for sale and go, oh my God, there's a real nice house. I want to go see that one. I don't want to call my agent. I'm just going to call this agent to go see it tomorrow, not bother my agent. For a nickel, for every time I heard this story from an agent, I said, I had these buyers, been working on them for 10 years. They said they're going to use me. They just called me yesterday, bought a house, and they want to know if I could jump in now. They already saw it with another agent because they just went online. But now maybe, little silver lining, maybe you'll get those buyers back because they go online thinking they're just going to easily just make an appointment with an agent. The buyer's agent asks them to sign something, and then they stop and then they think, should I sign this? Because again, any agent that's had that experience, like I get those calls 2, 3 a month. Tony, I got a buyer. They called me. I've been calling on them for months, years. They just called me because they went online, saw a house, made an appointment, saw the house with the other agent. Now they want me to be their agent. Now what? All right, that's a whole different video, but maybe that will stop. Maybe that will slow down. Maybe they'll kick them back to you because, oh, I'm not really just looking at this house. I actually signed something. I have to agree to something with an agent before I see the house. Maybe I'll just call my agent that's been prospecting. So there's a silver lining to you to continue to prospect. Maybe this change in this law will kick them back to you. And I'm hoping, again, ruffle some feathers, maybe these websites, maybe less buyers will go to them, and they will say, gosh, I have 10 buyers, agents calling me, they all need me to sign something. I'm just going to go with someone I know or interview them before I jump in to see a house. Now, the thing of it is that us as agents have to be aware of this mindset. Watch it, because I'm interested to see. I don't have a crystal ball, but this is my feeling. My feeling is that the internet leads were going to drop. I really have a feeling for that because the buyers are going to get sick of agents calling them and trying to force them to sign something before they do it, and they're actually going to start interviewing buyers agents. Or even worse, or for the buyer, they go to a listing and try to get a hold of the listing agent. And then the listing agent says, I still work for the seller. You have no representation. And they break the news to them in a good way. And, they don't have to break the news to them, but they might ask, am I getting it cheaper going through you? I'm saving commission. I don't have to pay a buyer's agent. No, that's a whole nother video, and I'm working with our agents one-on-one. And one of the things I'm really pushing to our industry is if a buyer comes to your listing without another agent, and you have to do double the work, do all the work for them, meet them there, go to the inspections, explain to them the contracts, give them your contracts to use, and doing everything an agent's doing, you should be making more money because you're doing double the work. Don't do it for half the cost. I don't think it's good for our industry and for buyers and sellers, for buyers to think if they call the listing agent directly, they don't have representation, which is dumb to do anyways. And two, that they think they're doing it because they're going to get it cheaper. No, they're not going to get it cheaper. You know why? So please, all buyers out there, if you're listening to this, I tell buyers all the time, this, out of all times in real estate, this is the time you need an agent. That other agent, the listing agent, works for the seller. So if you're worried about not having to pay a buyer's agent or making sure the seller pays or someone else pays, they don't have to look out for your best interest. That listing agent and seller goes, now we have an unrepresented buyer. They're not, it's kind of like representing yourself in a lawsuit. If you had a good attorney and suing somebody and that person tries to represent themselves, that attorney's so happy, we're going to run through this person because they have no idea what they're doing. Same thing with listing agents and buyers. Buyers, you don't know how much not damage, I won't say that, how you might overpay for a house because you don't have someone representing your best interest. You might be talked into, because it's the best interest of the seller, not to have inspections and not to have home warranties. And again, that closing terms that are the beneficial for the seller and not for the buyer. They're going to do everything they can to make it best for the seller and not as good for you. Might end up paying more closing costs, because there's certain closing costs that sometimes traditionally are split between buyer and seller. What do you think the listing agent's going to do in the seller? Oh, good. This buyer has no idea what's going on. They don't know that traditionally we split things. We're going to have the buyer pay all your closing costs for you, which you can. Let's write in the contract. Next thing you know, you as a buyer, sorry, I'm going on the buyers and I'm on a tangent here, but you might end up paying more in closing costs for title fees and things like that. Then you could use that money to actually pay a buyer's agent to represent you. But again, when you don't have representation and that agent's looking out for the best interest of the seller, what is they going to do? They have no fiduciary responsibility to get the cost the cheapest for the buyer, the value of the house cheaper for the buyer, or the terms better for the buyer. It has 100% to do. You don't know. It's kind of like walking into a car dealership and did no research on the price of the car, right? You have no idea. You have no idea what the price of the car. I mean, I know there's more laws involved with prices of cars and what car dealerships could charge, but when it comes to real estate, it's, you have the asking price. That listing agent and that seller could say, hey, you got to pay me asking price or above asking price, and you got to do this, and you got to pay for my fees here, and you got to pay this and that. And the buyer has no idea because they have no one fighting for them. So sorry, went on all these different tangents, but I always do. So, so you're used to it. So that's it. Remember, please reach out to me. Bottom line, I think these changes are great. It's going to help all of us as agents make sure we get paid for all of our hard work. We're only going to be working agents working with buyers that are committed to them, or at least they know could be just for a house they're committed to. It might be for the day, it might be a week. But we're making buyers be responsible for the work you do, and they don't have to pay you out of your pocket. They have to make sure someone pays for you. That's very important. So please, no matter what office you're with or what company you're with, if you hear this, please talk to your broker or manager, because there's still agents to this day that think that this change is forcing buyers to pay for their agents. I see it on TikTok and YouTube, and I even seen like managers and real estate coaches like, oh my God, buyers are going to have to pay out of pocket. No, they don't. No, they don't. Call me. I'll explain how you and your buyer can work it out to make sure someone else pays for the properties they have. If they don't want to pay, don't have the money to pay, if whatever reason, you and the buyer will have that agreement before you start seeing houses. All right, that's it. Have a wonderful Monday and more videos to come. Bye-bye.